Hey pre-algebra guys, we're here at 3.6, the last section of chapter 3, and we are talking about solving multi-step inequalities. Now, we've solved multi-step equations before, so let's just review one of those. So here we have negative 2x minus 7 equals 13. Okay, this is a multi-step equation because we have an equal sign. So what do we do first? Well, remember we need to deal with any addition or subtraction first, and then we'll deal with multiplication or division. So is there any addition or subtraction? Yeah, we have a subtracting 7. So how do we get rid of a minus 7? We add 7, but we have to add 7 to both sides. So now we're left with negative 2x, those have canceled, equals 20. All right, last step. All right, any more addition or subtraction on either side? No. And now we got to get the variable by itself, which has always been the goal anyway. We want it to look like x equals some number. And how do we do that? Well, there's a multiplication going on here between negative 2 and x. How do you break up multiplication? With division. Got to do the same to the other side though. So negative 2x divided by negative 2, we could just say the negative 2's cancel or both become 1, leaving you with x equals 20 divided by negative 2 is negative 10. All right, so that's a multi-step equation. But now we are going to solve multi-step inequalities. Okay, so what's the difference between an equation and an inequality? Would be the sign, right? So let's try this one. Let's see, make one up. So let's do 8x plus 2 is greater than 2. How about that? All right, so let's take a second to solve this. Again, same thing with equations. I need to deal with any addition or subtraction of constant terms first. Do I have any constant terms? Yeah, here and here. And on this side, there's a plus 2. Again, I'm trying to get the variable by itself. So to get rid of the plus 2, that's minus 2 from both sides, which would leave us with 8x. Those would cancel. Is greater than 2 minus 2 is 0. All right, next I need to deal with any multiplication or division, okay, of coefficients or numbers that come right before variables. So I have an 8 multiplied by the x. Don't like multiplication. I've got to get rid of it. How do I do that? Let's divide by 8. Divide by 8. So those cancel. You're left with x is greater than 0 divided by 8 is just plain 0. All right. Now if I said graph, what would you do? Well, hopefully you draw a number line with a straight edge or on a straight line. Mark a 0 because you're dealing with 0, and you're going to graph all numbers that are greater than 0. So let's circle the 0. We're not going to fill it in because it's not greater than or equal to, and because it's x is greater than 0, we shade off to the right. And there you go. You'd be done. So that's solving a multi-step inequality. So what do you think about this one? I want you to pause the video. I want you to try this one on your own. Play it when you're done, see what you get. I bet you can get it right, and yeah, we'll keep on moving. All right, so again, need to deal with any addition or subtraction of constant terms, okay? And here I have a constant. There's a constant over here as well, but he's on the other side of the variable, so that's good. I want to get this thing out of there. How do I get rid of a minus 6? I got a plus 6, and that's a 7. We don't want to do that. Let's add 6 to both sides. And so I'm left with x over negative 4. Those cancel or become 0. Greater than or equal to negative 5 plus 6. That's going to give me a positive 1. Now my last step is to multiply both sides by negative 4 times negative 4. So here, the negative 4 could become a negative 4 over 1 if you want, which would let you cross cancel those and would really just leave you with an x in the end. We know we've done that lots of times where it really becomes a 1 and a 1, and so it's 1 times x, which is 1x, over 1 times 1, which is 1, which really is just the same as saying x anyway. All right? And then on the right side, you get 1 times negative 4, which is negative 4. But now, what do we have to remember? We multiplied by a negative number. Okay? He was doing the work. We multiplied by negative 4. So that means the sign has to reverse direction. So now it's going to be less than or equal to negative 4. And if you graph it, negative 4, circle it and fill it in because it's less than or equal to, and less than or equal to means go to the left. Less, left, less, left. All right, so there you go. All right, so you are going to go ice skating like this little kid. I don't know if you're going to be wearing that bear tiger thing suit, but maybe you are. I don't know. And the rink, okay, charges $4 for admission. Okay, $4 for admission. Now, you can either rent skates at the rink for $5 a day. Okay, so we'll say $5 per day rental for renting ice skates. Or you can buy your own pair, for $45. So you go to Academy and there's $45 a pair. And we'll call it the purchase. Okay. And so what we want to do is we want to figure out how many times do you have to use the skates, okay, at the ice rink. So renting the skates for $5 a day. How many times do you have to do that in order for the cost of doing that to be more expensive than the cost of actually buying them? Okay, which would be the same thing as saying, how many times do you have to go in order for the cost of buying them to be less than renting? Okay, so what we have are two options. Call them option 1 and option 2. In option 1, we're going to say that's the rental way of doing things, and option 2 would be purchasing your own pair. Okay, so let's talk about option 1. What costs are associated with option 1? Well, every time you go to the rink, it's $4. Okay, and you're going to add to that. Well, if you're going to rent, it's going to be $5 every time you go, right? So it's actually $4 per visit plus $5 per visit, because every time you visit, you're paying admission and you're paying the cost of skates. So if you go one time, you're going to pay $4 for admission to the rink and then $5 for renting the skates. Of course, that combined is going to get you $9 per visit. Now, what about option 2? Well, option 2, you still have to pay $4 per visit to get into the rink, but you don't have to buy the skates, or you don't have to rent the skates. You've already purchased them. So we're going to add to that 45, but it's not 45V. It's not $45 per visit. It's just you buy the skates one time for $45, and you're done. So what do we do with these things? Well, we're trying to see when the cost of option 1, okay, so it's the rental, is going to be greater than the cost of purchasing, right? So what are the costs associated with renting? Well, we already said it's this thing, which we simplified into 9V. And we're going to say, when is that greater than option 2, which is purchasing, which is $4 per visit plus the $45 you pay one time to buy the skates. All right, so now what can we do with this? Well, we can actually solve, can't we? Yeah, we can. So let's see. It's a two-step equation, and you know what? I got variables on both sides. That's not good. I want the variable on one side. So I'm going to subtract 4V from this side, which is going to mean I have to subtract it from this side, of course. So 9V minus 4V is 5V, and that's going to be greater than 45. Now, what's my last step? Well, I need to divide by 5 and divide by 5, and that gets you V is greater than 9. Okay, so what does that mean? V is greater than 9. Well, it means that if you buy the skates, the cost will be less than renting after more than 9 visits. Okay, so let's think about this. Let's go back to our original inequality we set up right there. 9V greater than 4V plus 45. Right? So our answer is you have to visit more than 9 times. V is greater than 9. So what happens if you only visit 9 times? Exactly 9. Let's see. We're going to plug in a 9 everywhere we see a V. Okay, so that's saying 9 times 9 is greater than 4 times 9 plus 45. That's like saying 81 is greater than 36 plus 45. And what is 36 plus 45? Well, those two right there, if you combine them, get you 81. 81 is greater than 81. Well, is that a true statement? No, that's not a true statement. So what does that mean? Well, it means that if you visit 9 times, the cost, okay, on the left, which was rental, okay, all this right here was rental, is not greater than the cost of purchasing skates. If you visit 9 times, they're equal costs. So how many times do you have to go in order for renting to be greater than buying? Well, let's see. 9 times, if you visit 9 times, it doesn't matter if you rent or buy, you pay the same. Let's plug in a 10 for v this time. So I'm going to rewrite my inequality. 9v is greater than 4v plus 45. Let's plug in 10 there and there. So let's see. 9 times 10 would be 90. Skipping a step here. Is greater than 4 times 10, which is 40, plus 45. All right? And let's see, 90 greater than 40 and 45 is 45. Okay? Oops, 45, what am I talking about? Sorry, 85. 85, there we go. Okay, so on the left, again, the left represents renting, right? We said renting's on the left, purchasing is on the right. So we'll do R and purchasing. So when you rent and you visit 10 times, you end up paying $90. But when you purchase your skates and then you go to the ice rink 10 times, you only pay $85. So you could say greater than 9 times is our answer, or you could say on the 10th time and beyond, so the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, blah, 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 so on times gets you less cost if you are purchasing the skates. So if you're only going to visit the ice rink 8 times, should you buy skates? No. If you're only going to visit the rink 9 times, should you buy skates? Doesn't really matter, right? Because if you buy skates going 9 and you go 9 times, you're going to pay $81. But if you decide to just rent and you go 9 times, you're still going to pay $81. But if you go 10 times, should you rent or should you purchase? Well, let's look down here. If you go 10 times and you rent, it's 90. If you go 10 times and you purchase skates of your own, it's only 85. So there you go. All right, guys, that's all I have for you. I will see you soon in class.